Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Clueless Day Trading Frank. It's approximately 8:26 p.m. on an absolutely gorgeous evening here on the New Jersey, New York City waterfront, overlooking the Statue of Liberty. God bless them. God bless this great nation for giving me a chance to do what I need to do. This session will be recorded and uploaded to the Clueless Day Trading YouTube channel, which I highly recommend that all of you subscribe to. And more importantly, tell all your friends, family, colleagues, and anyone out there, including your pets, to listen to some of the few video blogs that I do, what I call videocasts, where I share some of my thoughts on the market and forecasts and things which hopefully will make all of us, including me, a few extra dollars. On that note, full disclosure, this is purely for financial education and not for any solicitation or advice. And I do welcome all of you great individuals to attend tonight's session. So let me begin. So let me start off by saying I have no idea what I'm doing. All right? How about that? This is Clueless Day Trading, and the name suggests that we are clueless. We are clueless about the markets. We're clueless about what tweets are going to come out from my good friend Donald, my New York neighbor. And we are clueless about what's going to happen in China, whether the North Koreans are going to lob another missile over northern Japan, whether there's a war in the Middle East, whether Iran's going to do some stupid stuff, or whether or not we're going to get another crazy earnings warnings from one of the companies that we trade. So we are truly clueless. And that's where I start. There's an old saying, it says an empty vessel starts the day empty, and it fills it up with wisdom as it goes along the way. Well, that's what we do. And the way we do it is that we follow, or we try to trade and follow in a very disciplined fashion, tactical charts. And even those in these volatile environments that we're in become quite difficult to maneuver. At Clueless Day Trading, and I want to give a big shout out to Lisa, goes by Immediate 28 or Imed 28 on the chat room, a new free trial subscriber and hopefully a loyal member. And I welcome her. I had a great conversation with her on an intro call that I do with every single free trial and new member that comes in. And I must say that I was very impressed with her knowledge. So on that note, welcome. Saying all that, we are in I have a lot of stuff on my head right now. And I'm not talking about whether my dog is not feeling well or, one of our cars needs an oil change. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about the markets. There's a lot of things going on. And some of the finest hedge fund managers out there who are managing billions of dollars are so totally confused that they've stopped trading. And I mean that. A year after I left Wall Street, which was back in late 2010, I actually worked for a outsourced fund company which dealt with one of the funds for one of the major hedge fund companies. And I will tell you that things have changed. And some of the biggest names that you hear out in the business have literally, and this is from my sources, I'm still an ex-Wall Street guy, been there for, was there for 14 years. They have literally stopped trading. And here we are at Clueless Day Trading, still eking out some very decent money in between all these different tactical formations and tactical lows and range trading and patterns and inverse head and shoulders and macro falling wedge breakouts. We're still doing it. And yes, we're taking some hits here and there. No question about it. But that's the nature of the business. But the biggest names in the business have literally stopped trading or are prognosticating about some massive bear market that's coming and world's falling apart and things like that, and they're getting smashed in stocks like Tesla, which we're making on money consistently. And these guys are supposed to be the smart money. So you tell me whether or not Clueless Trading in has a certain wisdom and style which generates pretty consistent profits along the way. Think about it for a minute. Because as traders, we have myopic vision. We have recency bias, like I said in my previous video cast, probably like 7 times or 8 times. People must be like, what's wrong with this guy? He's talking about like recency bias. But it's important because we're always focused on what's happening in front of us. 15 minutes, 1 hour, 4-hour charts. Well, not the 4 hours, but the 15 minutes and the 1 hour charts. And we think that's what's going to happen for the next month, next week. So on that note, let me start off what happened today. So we woke up this morning over the weekend, and believe me, I track things and I put it up on my Twitter feed, which I highly suggest all of you literally go to bed with. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to like read everything, whatever. Read the stuff that I'm tweeting. Because I'm not, even though I am as robotic as possible, my life is not just trading. I have a beautiful family. I have a 19-year-old son who's studying financial engineering in New York. I have a great life, a wife who still loves me. She should. I'm working all the time. And just kidding. I'm married more than, I'm married almost 20 years. And so the bottom line is that do read those things because those are important. Because what it does for you is that it puts your mental construct or your mental structure in place. So when you're doing the trades, you have a higher level of confidence. But it doesn't mean you're not going to feel like crap, as we say in New York, at certain times. When a perfectly great technical setup does not work at that exact moment. The second thing I want to talk about, the first part of my session is basically Tony Robbins / Clueless tactical behavioral game theory. How about that? I'm going to keep it short because no one wants to hear about their deficiencies or faults. I know that. But I accept it. I call it constructive criticism, which will only make me better. And if you go to Harvard Business School, which I had the good fortune of taking a couple of classes when I was doing my graduate studies, MBA at Babson College in Boston. Some Harvard professors came over to do some joint studies. In fact, a couple of years up back then in the early 90s, Babson was rated higher than Harvard. Believe it or not, look it up. They talk about the fact that you have to sit back, you have to look at certain behavioral aspects of your business, and at the same time, and they of course put it in very flowery language, and you have to decide what you need to do. I've never found it that easy. That self-criticism and constructive criticism is makes you a better person, but it does. The second thing I want to talk to you about from a behavioral standpoint when it relates to trading, because that's really what it matters, is that when you have unquantifiable black swan mini events, whether it be a good old Donald tweet, whether it be a news item that's coming out on the economy, whether it be a macro political function, a something coming out of China, there is no way to quantify it. And the only thing that we can do is try to have a framework through these, and I will say it, and I say it with all humility, absolutely precision tactical charts so that you can react better to it. And reaction doesn't mean that you're going to buy and sell every 5 minutes. Reaction means that you can sit back and say, okay, take it easy. I'm going to either cost average down, or I'm going to completely bail or go short. Look what happened this morning. We had every piece of negative news that you could think of. See, Sunday morning, good old Donald goes on his favorite Fox, financial channel, okay? And he goes out there and he mouths off everything that he doesn't like. He's going to move out of the WTO, the World Trade Organization. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Chinese markets are down 600, another whatever, 3, 4, 500 points. Futures basically collapse and are down 19 at the bottom here. This is a daily chart right there. 19 at the open. So what do? I say, buy the F dip. No. I sit back, look at things carefully. I start putting out alerts where I am seeing things happening. Did I know that today was going to be a pretty substantial bottom of the 2700? No. Did I have an idea that they are going to keep on supporting the 2700 E-minis and 2700 on the what do you call it, on the S&P? No. But I do know that's a very solid support because it's all about money. Shorts cover around 2700 and shorts sell around 2740. It's the way it is. And in between that, 40 handles is roughly about 280 to 300 Dow points. That's the range that we're trading. Does that mean every stock is going to move like that? No. But I called some big stuff today. I've done it many times before. Whether it be Alibaba opening up weak because of a stronger, much more weaker yuan, Chinese yuan against the dollar, because after all, they sell, they compute their balance sheets and income statements in the Chinese yuan. So if they have a much more weaker yuan against a US dollar, then translating that into US dollars means you're seeing a pro forma lesser profits because of currency devaluation. And I put those, a couple of those charts out during the day. Whether it be Netflix, whether it be Spotify, whether it be the SPX or the SPY, Regeneron, and I mean, it's kind of selective. Apple was up huge today. Apple in this friggin' market was up 1.16%, more than $2. Netflix, Google, lots of them. So the bottom line is that this is a very, like an average person out there, if you're having a nice beer with them and somebody says, oh, I trade stocks a lot, I made a lot of money in the market. You hear a lot of them, right, out there? They'll say, oh, what a messed up market. It just doesn't know what it's doing. The market knows exactly what it's doing. Trust me. Because the market is always heavily manipulated. And it knows what it's doing. And there is a certain element of the market which controls the market, believe me. It's not the Freemasons, but it's out there, okay? Who know what they're doing. And they're not at this point ready to break the market as the dogmatic bears. I mean the dogmatics, not tactical bears who tell you, break the market completely and bring it down all the way down to the 2590 level or so. That is roughly about 100 points from here. That's roughly about 600 to 700 points in the Dow. Yet, will it happen? I have no idea. That's why I'm a clueless A trader. I try to gauge reactions at certain levels. That's why my charts have so many lines. These lines are not drawn for fun. They're drawn to make money. And this is, I'm showing you obviously the daily chart. I'm going to go through charts in a few minutes. So The key is we are in a very, this is the S&P daily that I showed a whole bunch of times today and many days in a row, and it's certainly quite positive, heading towards the upper gap, which is around the 2630, 2742 level. I've mentioned that several times on my posts. I have no idea if it's going to break out over this upper megaphone. We'll see. So the risk that we have in the market, we already know. Whether it be the tweets, whether it be the harsh language on world trade negotiations, and all kinds of stuff. So let me tell you some of the good stuff for a change. Okay? So number one, I know most of you guys don't follow world politics or what's happening in Mexico or Canada or anywhere else, and maybe some of you do. Mexico just elected a highly leftist, that means so-called, at least his party is, socialist president. I actually can't remember his name. I'll Google it. Okay? He's a very smart guy. So what do you think might happen? Okay, all of a sudden he's like, that's it, I'm done with the US, I'm walking away. I'm taking back all those pieces of California land you guys took from us hundreds of years ago, blah, blah, blah. Nope. He's actually a capitalist business pragmatic. And guess what Donald does? Which, very civil and very diplomatic of him as the most powerful leader in the world. Good old President Trump calls him up and has a great chat with him. And he mentions it during his press conference with I believe he's a Norwegian guy who was here today. And he says, hey, we had a good conversation. Hey, I like that. Because that guy doesn't like a lot of aspects of NAFTA. Now, without me getting into a long-winded economic analysis, which I love doing, as you all know, of why all this hardcore illegal immigration, I'm talking hardcore illegal immigration. I'm not talking about legal immigration. I'm not talking about farm workers coming to pick up the grapes so I can drink my nice red vino from California. I'm not talking about the landscaping company that went public on the New York Stock Exchange, where 90% of the workers are legal South American immigrants, hardworking guys. Because America as a nation, we're not racist. We're pragmatic about the way we look at things. But illegal immigration, where you rush the borders, is a complete no-no. And the resulting actions are just horrific. Right? So the point is, they have a good conversation. And one of the simplest ways you can resolve, it doesn't happen in one day, but still, it can start somewhere, is economic equalization. That's my term. Where you don't have this much of a economic disparity, where Mexico is a very developed country. We make cars there. They have a lot of industries. So good old Donald had a good chat with him. So listen, bring up your economy big time. The Mexican economy, by the way, just so you know, guys, is growing faster than on a percentage basis than us. Of course, because we are the 800-pound gorilla in town. So obviously, we're not going to grow at 9% a year. Right? But it's growing faster than us. So he said, okay, let's employ more of your people. There's a lot of people there. So you don't have people rushing the border. That's the only way to do it. Walls would only slow down a few things. What, you're going to just randomly shoot people right, left, and center? We wouldn't do that. People move from nation to nation, like our nation was created because of economic disparity. Most of my life I grew up in Boston. Boston is run by the Irish. The Irish emigrated to the United States of America because of the potato famine. They didn't come here because we had internet. Right? So wake up. Immigrants come in flows because they are looking for economic prosperity. So the fact is that if you have, in my opinion, if you have economic growth in those nations, then they don't rush to come in here that much. Legal immigration and high-skilled merit immigration, a lot of our Silicon Valley companies that we use every single day, including Hotmail and Google and a bunch of guys in Microsoft and so many of them are built by people who came through legal immigration or merit. Brains. We used to be called the brain drain, if anyone remembers that term. That's what we need to get back to. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't need labor. Good old Donald employs 70% of his workers at Mar-a-Lago. And trust me, I've been there once, years ago. They're all South Americans. They're all pretty happy. So you just can berate a whole immigrant class, in my opinion, and I'm a hardcore conservative, trust me, just because they're looking for economic prosperity. But you can't let the floodgates open. You can't. You need to bring them in as needed, and merit immigration, you got to bring them in because they got friggin' smarter than us. Because we are the 19th or 20th when it comes to real STEM education. I've mentioned this before. Because most of our kids are too stuck with LeBron. Not to say anything bad about LeBron. $150 million. Holy, like we say in New York, shit. Okay, and Jay-Z and rap stars and media, and they're all out there like, smoking dope. Okay, while the other kids in the world, whether they're from India or China or other countries or Ukraine or Russia, they're working their butts out. They're actually graduating college and taking calculus. So it's about your brains. If you're smarter, you're going to win. You cannot blame the rest of the world because you are making your own people stupid. So if you don't go to high school and you're smoking a fat blunt and getting stoned and then you want a lot of money and you blame everybody else out there for your ills, well, it ain't working that way. And yet we have some of the most skilled workers in the world and some of the most skilled industries. End of story. I hope you guys got it, okay? Because anyone who argues with me will most probably fail because what I'm saying is dead right. So, saying all that, we start the day when we trade with a plain chart. And we are in very difficult times right now. Like I said, some of the top hedge fund managers have just stopped trading. I talked to still a couple of my colleagues back on Wall Street, and they have absolutely no clue. Just the way they had no clue about Tesla, about Chipotle, about Regeneron, about PBYI, about Sarepta, about the market. None. Negative analyst reports, blah, blah, blah. And if you guys want to trade like that, hey, good for you. Saying all that, it's a difficult time. There are trades that don't go right over that period of time. And trades all of a sudden, which will be down 3, 4, 5 points in your options will be down 60% just because something happened in China and their markets are collapsing. Remember, this trade war is not going to be won by who wins, but who loses less. Do you understand what I'm saying? I even put out that article out there, and I thought about that before too. It is called the pain factor. Who is going to buckle first? Who's going to cry uncle? I think China is going to cry uncle first. Are we completely in the right with everything we're doing? Nope. Is there a lot of fake stuff that's being disseminated from the White House team? Absolutely. Do I think that our trading partners, Europe, Canada, which are our allies, by the way, they've fought wars with us, guys. All right? Not China. And China, who are completely in the right? No. They have cheated us in so many ways, not even funny. So the trade war, a trade war is not necessary. A hardcore negotiation is very necessary, but you cannot go overboard. You go overboard. Our supply chains, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about from an economic standpoint. Okay? Our supply chains, which simply means that everything that we produce is so entrenched because this is a global economy, whether you like it or not. We are not going to be an isolationist nation. Are we going to look for our benefit? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm all for it. I want our kids to get a first chance. I don't want some foreign kid with the same caliber getting that job at Microsoft when my son can't. Why? Because they're going to pay him a little bit less and, and he's got the same caliber? No. We cannot deprive our own for the sake of saving money. I'm totally with that. But at the same time, our own have to be smarter and stronger. And no wonder my son is an honor student in financial engineering in New York. God bless him. Is he a nerd? Absolutely not. He's all about cars and math. That's the best combination ever. Greed in a good way and brains. That's what made America great. Ask Donald. He was very smart and he was very greedy. He's still very greedy. So, there you go. So, let's get into technicals. Enough of my little rants about, clueless trading thoughts and stuff. So, this is one of the most important charts I want to show you guys, and I think that this is worth noting. I'm probably going to go out on a limb tonight and say maybe it's the start of that big one. But of course, it's going to be choppy. Remember, markets are not linear. They're algorithmic. In other words, they're choppy as they move along. But this clean chart, which is a daily of the SPX, which all of you can relate to. This is a daily. Let me change that down to a different color. I think yellow is better. Is looking pretty damn good. We have, most importantly, internals. Simple internals. Not all the other indicators I look at. This is a minor crossover. In fact, it is a crossover. Because in life, we always try to underestimate our strengths and give too much credence to our weaknesses. We all do, right? Rejoice in your successes. Learn from your failures. I keep telling myself that. I keep telling my son that when he was little. Now he's a big boy. Rejoice in your success. Remember the things that made you successful. Remember the things that made you that 400% and you stuck with that trade. Replay that in your head. And that'll make your next trade go better. Trust me, it will. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, a crossover. So I'm not going to underestimate it. It's a crossover. Unless something really stuff happens, which it always happens every evening. Every night. This is, at least from a technical standpoint, and I'm not going to throw out other unquantifiable events. I'm just going to look at technical stuff, is a crossover. What happens during crossovers? In very simple terms, markets go higher. So if this is a crossover, the levels that we're looking at are higher. And the first level that I'm looking at is the downtrend line and the 34-day moving average, which I'm a big follower of, which is 2740. So you're talking 14 points from here and 14 points. 14 handles. SP I'm putting, SPX, 14. You are talking about roughly 100 points on the Dow. Imagine after all, a bunch of these heavy volatile days, 100 points. Well, we actually went up more than 100 points. Can anyone tell me how much we went up today from the bottom on the Dow Jones? Or take a guess? Anyone? Is anyone live? Listen, I'm asking a question. 400? Oh, that's beautiful. We went up 400 points? No, we didn't. We went up about 200 points. That's a good try. I like that. 400 points, man. I had a good day anyway. But 400 points, I'd probably have one of my best days. No, we went from Dow to 24,077 to 24,319. So we went up a little bit more than 200 points. Yes, it did. But I will give David that credence. And David, thanks for attending. Anyway, everyone give a shout out to David, who is also a new member from last week. And I love this. We have Lisa, we have David. I love new people in there, good people that I've spoken to. And I feel terrible for all those people who signed up for a free trial and never signed up as a member. Really terrible, because they are missing. They are missing, and they will miss out on the biggest moves in the market. I can assure you that. Right or wrong, I'm always there to guide people to what's going on. Am I going to be always right? Never. Am I going to be right a lot? Yes, I will. Good old Donald, like he says, I love his favorite line. I win a lot. Yes, I lose, but I win a lot. So on that note, so you're talking about 100 points from here. 100 points from here would basically bring us up to where we had the last supply zone, which I'm going to right now. I'm going to just look at this uptrend channel right there, very defined. I thought we were going to get to the bottom of it. I tried to buy some S&P puts the other day. Didn't work, which is great because all the other longs did. Because I figured that this inflection point here on the 29th of May was going to be the pattern symmetry. Let me clean this out. This one right here, the touch point, which would be right here, which would also be the bottom of this rising channel. This is still a rising channel, by the way, guys. All right, going all the way back to March of right there, 2nd of April. It's still a uptrend channel, whether one likes it or not. And the bears won't tell you that. They'll say, "No, it's terrible. This is everything's broken." You know, Donald is going to fail. President Trump is going to fail, and everything he's doing. No, he's going to win. I don't like some of his tactics sometimes. So what? His team is great. Mnuchin, Kudlow, even Navarro at times. So, and I hope Kudlow's fine. We haven't really seen him after he had his little heart attack. That was wild, right? He had his heart attack. Poor guy. He's getting tired. He's old. So anyway, and I've had my good fortune of meeting Larry Kudlow a few times back in my good old days on Wall Street. Mostly over some cocktail parties, so wasn't a lot of talk going on. Anyway, so the bottom line is the 34-day moving average is right there, and that's the downtrend line. That's going to be the next level of impact. Resistance. There's nothing, there's no rocket science here. Now somebody said, will that resistance completely fail? I don't personally think so. I think we started a little run here. That's my opinion. But doesn't mean I'm going to be just blindly holding everything all the way up there. We have a 20-day moving average in glaring lovely blue at 27.54. And that also happens to be a gap fill. So there's a lot of little technicals that's shaping up here. One is the downtrend line, the supply points where we had inverted hammers, the sell-off started. That's around 27.41 or so. And then the upper end of that is the upper gap, which is 27.54. Do I think it's going to be a straight line up here to 27.80? Absolutely not. Do I think that we could possibly, and I'm showing you all the probabilities here, we get a run like this? But I don't know. If we get any signs, whether it be from good old President Trump or the Chinese premier or the Europeans or the Canadians, which, by the way, another piece of great positive news over the weekend that I posted, he actually spoke to good old Trudeau, Canadian premier, on Friday evening. I'm like, that's great, man. That's what, diplomacy is. You call each other's names. You call him an idiot. You call him all kinds of names, right? Um, and then you call him up and say, "Hey, dude, what's going on? Happy Canada Day." I get my part of my wife's sister is married to a Canadian. I was told him years ago when they were married, younger sister, that we should just annex Canada, take all their oil and minerals. He was really pissed at me. So they're very proud people. So I said, no, we should just take over Canada, man. You guys are just, especially Toronto and stuff, the English speaking part, and the French speaking part, just give it out to the French. So he didn't like that joke. So so Trudeau is a very proud person. He's looking after his own country. He doesn't like Donald berating him. But they spoke on Friday. I said that was great. North Korea's out of the equation. The fat man's eating burritos right now, and no wonder Chipotle is going higher. Maybe the Chipotle is going to open their first restaurant in Pyongyang. Right? Pyongyang? Yep. In the capital of North Korea. I don't know. Burger King's definitely open now because he loves burgers. And Donald likes him. So that's it. The fat man's okay. The fat man from North Korea. So that risk is out of the picture. So we had him talking to Trudeau. Then he's making some comments, positive comments about the new Mexican president-elect, which is great. Who also said he would help in border security, which I think is fantastic. Mexico just shut down the friggin' border so you don't get this rush of desperate, I should say, women and children rushing the border. And of course, the guys who make the millions are the coyotes. And if you don't know what a coyote is, I'm not talking about the animal, but the people who are human traffickers. They're the ones who are making the millions. Those guys should all be shot, in my opinion. Literally shot. They should send in our SEALs and just literally shoot them. Because the drug cartels and the coyotes are the ones who are creating most of this problem, honestly speaking. Letting people from all over South America to rush the border to come in a caravan. I'm like, what? Those people are desperate. Okay, I can understand that part. Doesn't mean like you let everybody in. But the coyotes and the drug cartels need to be literally decimated. But it's not possible, obviously, because they're all paying off the politicians, right? So anyway, I'm kind of veering off. So bottom line is that there's a gap here, 2741, 2754. I think we get there. People say, well, when do you think we get there? I think we might get there this week because of some of the positive factors that I've mentioned. Now, the other positive thing that happened is good old, and this is big, which most of you guys don't really care about, is Angela Merkel. Her coalition government was almost collapsing last night because she has somewhat of a softer stance on asylum procedures. And her coalition said, no, shut down the borders and be very selective about these asylum procedures from all these Syrian and other refugees from war-torn countries who, again, are desperate enough to move to a country where they can work and make some money. So she finally acquiesced tonight. I just put it up there and said, yes, we will. I think that's a very smart move. You can flood a country with any immigrant who says, listen, I got beaten by my husband, or a gang member tried to take my daughter, and I'm just going to come live in your country. You just can't do that. If that was the case, then I'd just walk over. I just basically go over to my richest neighbor who's got a $10 million home with his Bugattis, and we have nice cars, but not Bugattis, okay? And his, Lamborghini Huracan Performante, which is a $450,000 car. I said, listen, I'm just not feeling good today, and I lost some money on trading, so I'm just going to move into your house. Okay? So it doesn't work like that. So that was a good thing that happened. Of the third quarter going into, okay. Yeah, Mike just made a good point. So anyway, so the bottom line is that this is good. Now, seasonality factors that some people are talking about, that yes, the market for the last 4 years has been, this is Mike Harrington, my good friend, mentioning is, the market for the last 4 years has been up for the first three trading days of the third quarter, or going into the 4th of July holiday. Yes, you're correct. And I've always believed in some aspects of seasonality, not all of it. All I do know, never short the market crazy before big holidays, especially 4th of July. Are you a patriot? I mean, come on. What do you do? Short American companies before 4th of July? There's an economic reason behind it, like I've always said. And I was dead right about it last week, too. Okay? These are big shopping days. These are what creates our keeps our GDP afloat. 2.5%, 3% GDP growth. So what do? You crash the market 1,000 points before 4th of July, and nobody goes out because they look at the 401k on online and say, oh my Lord, I'm done. No, it doesn't work like that. So yes, you're correct. And more importantly, the first couple of 8 trading days, 5 to 8 trading days of a new month, is generally when the pension funds put in large allocations of capital coming to the market. They'll pick their spots. Doesn't have to be the same stocks. But beyond that, let's take a look at this. So here's the gap. Here's where we are right now. This bullish engulfing candle, well, kind of engulfing from the 28th from last Thursday. It'll be really beautiful to see it engulfing like this. I mean, all the way into the gap. In that case, you sell everything, and because you know it's overbought. But this is good. It's well over the 50, which we like. The 50 is right now trending at around roughly 27.18. The 150-day moving average, which I look at very carefully, okay, was what was retested and recaptured. Retested and recaptured. The 150-day moving average. Every single time it's done that, the markets move forward. Not to the moon, but to a good level where we can all make money. We had 120% move on the spike lottos, which I alerted at the day's low, which went from 64 cents to $1.41. Ladies and gentlemen, keep your trades focused. Don't believe what might happen a couple of days from now. If you did an intraday trade, a couple of $100, couple of $1,000, I don't care, whatever you do, okay? On the lottos, you want to keep it reasonably moderate, not $10 or $60 because each call was 64 cents. It's $1.40. How many reversals did we have today on multiple stocks, which you could have made some very decent money? In fact, you could have had probably one of your better days if you just focused on what I was showing, which was the slow stochastics moving up, the crossover beginning, and many other different charts, which I cannot spend time or energy on this short webinar to explain. So that's your daily. Looking pretty good, but you're going to find a big roadblock right here at this level, at the downtrend line, what we call the DT line, 34-day moving average at 27.41, roughly. Okay, this is Fibonacci retracements here from the lows. So let me just get to that. 1 second. There's your Fib retracements right there from the highs, the wave 5 high, when everybody was all giddy with like, oh my God, you know, everything, Apple's going to $1,000, like, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff we heard in chat room. And if you listen to my videos, I did mention that is called wave 5 euphoria. Well, what did wave 5 euphoria do? Crash and burn. We played it pretty nicely. Did I think we're going to crash like that? Absolutely not. And I'm sure some other services will say, oh yes, we did it. Garbage. Liars. No, we didn't. We did not expect to fall 2,500 Dow points within a matter of a couple of days. But did we trade along the way? Absolutely. So this is where we are right now. Okay? And I did a Fibonacci retracement. And if you look at the fib, the 50 fib is basically at 2704 right there. It's marked right there. At 2704. We are up. We keep on testing the 50 fib. There are many different ways to skin a cat, right? Lisa, for example, when we have the conversation, she uses fibs a lot. Fibonacci retracement. And I said, great, you're talking my language. And so here we are. We keep on retesting, multiple retests. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth day in a row. Not in a row, but fourth day. 4 days. 27.05. Let me round off the decimals. 50 fib. Not bad. Because 50 fib is where you normally come up to. And we actually overshot. We went up to the 78.6 fib, 2800, which I called. I can't lie. Go listen to my video casts. Go scroll through the Twitter feed and you'll see it. I called it. I thought there was going to be a minor overshoot. Nope. Because at 78 fib, at 2803, it didn't quite get there. It got close to it. I believe 27. What did we get close to? We got close to 27.94. Good enough. And all this stuff happened. So the key is the 50 fib is very important. The 38.2 fib, which is 26.64, is critically important. If all hell breaks loose and Donald really goes nuts, and believe me, he does go nuts at times, right? And he wants to slap tariffs on everyone, including Melania's wardrobe, and said no more expensive Chanel, Gucci, and all these very stylishly fashionable New York stuff, which we're all used to, by the way, that she wears. And that's it. I'm capping it down. You're not buying anything. Yes, we're going to fall to 26.67. We're going to get to the bottom of this wide macro channel, and that's at 26.76, which I thought we might go to be honest with you, given what happened over the weekend. But we didn't. So respect not what we think, respect how the markets react. And that's what I'm showing you guys. And that affects every stock that you're trading out there, almost every stock. So saying all that, this is generally bullish. This is good. Momentum indicators are starting to move higher. That's your McClellan oscillator, which is pretty good. It already had a minor positive divergence that seems to be playing out. We would like to see this crossover from a very simplistic term, surge. When it surges, that's when you get these moves, which means you make some real decent money, and accounts that have fallen 40, 50% can rise 100, 200%. That's just the way it goes. It doesn't matter where you fell from. It's how far you go to recover that account. That's what matters. Trust me, I know. The bigger your accounts are, the more pain you'll feel. The smaller your accounts are, the more you're going to make on these reversal bounces. Because the bigger your positions are, you're going to take profits too early. Behavioral finance. If you have a $8,000 position on an option, you will take profits at 10, 11 real fast and capped at $2,000, $3,000. If you have a $400 position, $600 position, you let it run and you're going to make probably $2,000, similar to what that large account did. Trust me when I tell you. Behavioral finance. And true of trading too. So when people say, oh, I don't have that big an account and I really can't trade that much. Excuse me. Put that small amount of money in, sit with a swing trade, go with it. Go with the Chipotles of the world. Go with the SPX and look at it 3 weeks from now. Keep on monitoring my charts. Go with the Regeneron, where $1 calls are right now at $10.60. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 900% plus in 2 weeks. Which reminds me, every one of you need to look at least once a day, at the end of the day, at our Instagram account. And if you haven't signed on to our Instagram account or subscribed to it, then you're doing yourself a disfavor. Because one of my best social media directors and a good friend and a trader has military precision, because he is ex-military. I don't know what the heck he was doing there. He's probably just shooting people. I mean, shooting the bad guys, I hope. Okay? I'm dead serious. I'm not kidding. Is helping me, partnering with me to do the Instagram account, Facebook, LinkedIn, to get ourselves out in the social media. Why? Because we have such great stuff that we do and no one seems to know about it. Because my website doesn't say, come on over, I'm going to make you a millionaire in 3 months, like a lot of the garbage websites out there talk about. We have had guys here who have taken $2,000 accounts to $20,000 in a matter of a week, 2 weeks. It's a fact. Read the testimonials. We have had people who have taken accounts much higher. We have had, and all of them have taken some hits along the way. No question about it. So make sure every one of you, and the only thing, I don't ask for much, okay, is that tell 5 of your friends, 10 of your friends. I'm sure you have at least 5 friends who actually talk to you. So tell them, hey, go follow Clue Estate Trading. I don't care if they look at it or not. Let them follow, because we want to cross the algo threshold on the Facebook metrics above 500, above 1,000, so it gets picked up fast, because there's such good stuff there. We have roughly about 100 and I can't remember, 170 to 180. So that's the least you guys can do. All right, guys, please. And I don't ask people for too much. You know that. So bottom line is, this is where we are right now. Futures look like they're spiking a little bit. And where are they right now? E-minis are right now up 350. I think the Merkel thing is big, because that means the coalition is not collapsing. Because whether one likes Merkel or not, I'm not going to be a political junkie on Germany. She is, if German markets will fall hard if her coalition falls. No question about it. No question about it. Okay? Which is not going to help our markets. You want the euro stronger. You want the yuan stronger against the US dollar, not weaker. We don't, and you need some form of stabilization. We might have just started it, and the rise towards the gap fill and everything that I talked about. And in this particular case, you're looking at, I've put the numbers here, 27.48, and God forbid, and this is the E-minis, God forbid, you can see this beautiful colored lines here, this macro channel. God forbid that we get a real breadth thrust, in other words, a fat one of these type of candles into this macro channel, which is slightly above the 27.56 level. You are going to get a megaphone breakout, which is going to take us not, and I'm not going to say that 27.96. I mean, then every single guy on the media like, oh, there we go, bull market is back and stuff. But all I know is that it looks likely that we are going to enter this macro channel, and just entering it is a good solid 30 points from here, which is roughly about 180 to 200 points in the Dow. And that's going to affect every stock that you own. This is a very powerful picture, ladies and gentlemen. That is one of the longest long tail hammers. And I'm a simple guy. Okay? I'd like to look at things simple. I really do. Because I don't like working that hard to like, oh, am I seeing this? I just want to see things that, okay, it makes sense to me. Well, it makes sense to me. The last time I saw a candle, and it's like a Chinese firecracker, like I keep on saying, long candles, candle reversals, long ones. They always, obviously, because that's what the institutional shorts are covering. And I gave you the reasons behind why they're doing that. Both the macro economic and political reasons, and the trading reasons. So you get these type of long tail candle reversals, and we have quite a few, but this was the longest one today. And it went straight back, which I love, from a technical perspective, directly into this lovely macro uptrend channel. This is your lovely macro uptrend channel, ladies and gentlemen, just in case some of you didn't get it. Like I said, I think a child will understand these charts better than most of us, because we're always overthinking. Where's the gap? Where's this? Hey, it's back in the channel. Does that mean, what's the next move on the channel? Best case scenario, it's going to hit the upper megaphone. Remember, these megaphones work. That was a bull flag. This is a nice megaphone. It hit the bottom of the megaphone exactly like I drew it, which was right off these levels, 2694 thereabouts. And then you got that this one right now, and I think I might do it. I will do it. I'm going to remove. From a technical geek that I am, that's a ballsy move. Oops, sorry. Bottom line is, here we are. What's the upper end of this megaphone? 2779 or 2778. That's a lot of money, guys. I don't know, maybe some of you just don't care, like, how much money you have and how much money you want to make, but I care about every dollar that I make, guys. All right? I've got a lot of bills to pay. I have a good living. And I pay a lot of taxes. I cheat on some of them. Yeah, so what? And I'm a trader. But honestly speaking, that's a lot of money. And the first level of contact where there's going to be a bunch of resistance and selling is right there at 2760, because that's where the waterfall decline started on. That's why my charts are so good, so easy to see on the 26th, which was just last week. So the pattern symmetry, honestly speaking, short term, maybe for this week, is right there, 2760 on the futures. Right there. That's the pattern symmetry. Do we get all the way up here and hit this big roadblock? I don't know. A couple of other sweet words to the Mexicans and the Canadian governments. Yes, we will. So that's it, guys. And this one looks pretty damn good. That's your S&P. No futures, no nothing. The S&P 500 daily. And this is this. And that, again, the upper end of the megaphone, the breakout level retest that we fell apart. Remember, this breakout was exactly this. People don't think this market's algorithmic. What the heck are they talking about? Seasonality, reasonality, that's throw it out of the window. Just follow. Of course, I mean, take that into account lightly. The full moon. Yeah, I look at the full moon thing too, the calendar. But this is what's going on. You had multiple attempts. W dragon bullish formations. Finally, it broke out. And that level was 2743, 2751. Most retail traders out there, guaranteed, unprepared. We were totally prepared. And then it shot up, the overshoot. And then it came back, retested it a bunch of times, and then gave in. And caved in. It was a gap open. You could do nothing. All right? You're sleeping at night. Hopefully you get some sleep, right? I don't most of the time. So it gave in. Now this was at it says 15. Okay, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. This is where we closed at. Yeah, it was overnight. Bang! And when did that happen? That happened on the 25th. Since then, we've been doing this. Has it been easy? No. Anyone says, "Oh, it's really easy." One of our traders, good trader too, one of the best lotto traders, right, Bob? He says, "Oh, I'm always confident. You got to be. It's pretty easy." No, it's not easy. That's a blatant lie. It's easy. That means you're trading with pennies. If you're trading with real dollars, and some reasonably substantial amounts, it's never easy. So get that notion off your head. It's easy. That's garbage. It's never easy. But the big money comes when it's not easy. So I'm showing you how the big money can be made, which is trading the levels. So this is what we are. So upper end of the level is right there. What do you think's going to happen there? Is there a big shootout out? Yeah, sure. If Donald sends a big I love you emoji to Trudeau, and he invites the Mexican president over, which I think he will, because the Mexican guy is a tough guy, like Donald. So I think he likes him. Because Donald's he's a pragmatist, right? He's a deal maker. So he's not like, "Oh, you're a hardcore this and that." He's just like, "Hey, I like you, You beat up some people, I like you, That's what he is, right? Because Donald, I've known him, trust me, I haven't known him personally, but I've known his CFO. He's not he's kind of a soft guy. He's not like some hardcore guy who goes punching around people. All right, I don't think he's ever hit somebody in his life, other than his tweets. So he's not like some tough guy who does that. The Mexican guy, this guy is tough. I'm sure he's knocked out a few people, right? So do I think that's going to happen? Sure can. But my feeling is it's going to hit that breakout level and then it's going to do some back and fill. So this is good. And if you didn't, and right there along this way, that's good for 200, roughly about 200%. Roughly about 200%. The stows, the clean stows, which are the simplest ones, are just showing you the way, and I've been showing it. Once it gets overbought, you know what happens. A child can trade this stock. I mean, this chart gets up here, it's gonna pull back. Gets up here, gonna pull back. If it starts moving sideways, like it did here, you're gonna get a extension, what we call an acceleration phase. That brings us to the next level of contact, which is roughly around 2780. This is not rocket science. Now, here are a couple of quick things here before I take a few questions. Is the reaction time that you have is extremely important. Okay? Charts and stuff are fine. But how you're reacting to the situation, how much money you have in that trade, when you're taking profits, are you taking profits along the way as you're moving forward? That's all up to you. I am not trading your book. You're trading your book with my tools and my roadmap. So looking at the GPS, you better have your hands on the wheel. You don't have your hands on the wheel, don't come around blaming everybody. I hear a lot of excuses in my life from a lot of traders. If you want a simple, smooth ride in this market, you ain't going to get it. Sometimes you might have to close your eyes and just say, I know it's going to get there, put some cells out there, and the market will take it. That's it. Any quick questions, please? Anyone? Did I put everyone to sleep? Coma? Food coma? Clueless 8 coma? Is everyone still connected? Mary Beth says no good. Okay, that's great. All right. So I think I've done my job. I'm open to questions. It's 9:27, couple of extra minutes, you know. Somebody can ask me about a stock. Somebody can ask me what they should feed their dog. I'll tell them. We got 2. Somebody asked me what the cat should be fed. I'll tell them 2. Just kidding. We have 3, which is true. Okay. So let's take a look at. Let's take a look at. Well, all my chart stocks are up there, but let's do this. This was a hollow candle. This is Spotify. I'm very hot on Spotify, by the way. Just the way I was hot on Netflix when it was a $200 stock and a $150 stock. And every analyst was like, no, they don't make money, blah, 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 blah. I said, this stock's going higher. I said it was going to go to 200. I said it was going to go to 300. I said it was going to go to 400. Did I hold it all the way up? No. Did I take staggered profits along the way? Yes. Do I regret it? Yes. I should have just blindly held it. In fact, I should just blindly buy some calls at Netflix 1000. I'm dead serious. Okay? Why? Because I'm in love with Netflix? No. Am I in love with Tesla? No. I don't even like Teslas like some of you guys, new members. I like gasoline guzzlers, all right? Gas guzzlers, V8s, V12s, things which make a noise when you drive it. Not some silent beast that runs at 200 miles an hour. But these are the companies that drive America. Netflix is going a lot higher. So Spotify is going a lot higher. It is the Netflix of music, in my opinion. Everybody listens to Spotify. Even I listen to Spotify. And I don't even listen to music that much. I just scream at my Alexa, Amazon, and say, hey, play Kryptonite. Bam! Plays one of my favorite songs, Kryptonite. I don't listen to Jay-Z and stuff, so sorry, guys, you know. But it's amazing. It's a subscription-based model, and it's a heck of a lot better than Apple Music, which I've never used on my iPhones. Have any of you? So when they say Apple's coming into the streaming music business, I was like, great. But I don't find Apple Music easy to use. Spotify, forget it. Stock is going higher. And we've been trading it all the way from 150. This is bullish. This was a hollow candle reversal. I showed them my thing. And believe me, I haven't seen a hollow candle in a long time. And that turned into a big, hot, what? Reversal hammer. Ladies and gentlemen, when was the last time you saw this? Right there, right here, kinda. The stock's going higher. Alibaba, hey, it's got the China issues, and that day when it was down, all of a sudden down 3, I'm like, what's going on? And then I realized that yuan went nuts. In other words, it weakened substantially. Alibaba fell because we were long before that. We were up. And then all of a sudden it's down like it, and then it goes up during the day. I take a little profits, and then what was it, Friday, right? But technically speaking, if we didn't have all these currency issues, don't forget, Mary Beth, that Alibaba is held hostage to the yuan factor, the currency factor. So it's not the fact that Alibaba is a great company. It is a great company. It is the Amazon of China, and the Google, I mean, not the Google. Google of China is, Baidu and stuff. But it's looking good. But it needs to really create another candle to get back to 192.59. Do I think it's going to happen? I have a good feeling it will, because it is one of the most favorite hedge fund favorites, and they love buying Baba at lows. And this is a low. That was a gap fill, and we kept on buying it. Okay? So bottom line is the Baba, if it goes 192, again, the downtrend line attack. If it falls again, and there is that's why I draw these charts. I know, I go by the charts. And it falls back towards 180, that's still fine, believe it or not. Even though it's not fine if you have weekly calls and stuff and it doesn't feel good. No question about it. Trust me, I know. But those lottos were great. I had the 185s and I had the 190s. And the 192s. The 190s went from 42 cents to 96 cents. And I literally had low prints at 45 that I bought. That's 100% on your money. Wake up. Don't have to always have the stocks go up a gazillion points to make 100% on your calls. So this one, I'd like to see that. Generally, that's what has happened. It's starting. I'd like to see a crossover. Then sparks fly. Real fireworks. Apple. Let's take a quick look at Apple. Apple's good. I mean, we traded that. Apple's pretty good, actually, right now on the daily. And I'm showing you the swing versions here, cutting out the daily noise. Okay, there's your channel on Apple, and this is looking pretty good. But Apple is run completely by algos. Completely. So you wake up tomorrow morning, Apple's down 2, you're like, whoa, 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 what happened? But now Apple's also on a seasonal basis. They're coming out in September. Remember, Apple always has a run-up towards the newer phones, which I can't wait to get, the 6.5-inch screens. I'll be like, yes, finally I can run my whole business off an iPhone. So when Comcast screws up my internet, I'll be just like, remember one thing, I'm always with you guys. And even when my internet was down thanks to Comcast and I couldn't even do my own trades, and I was using the iPhone 8 Plus to put out charts and everything. So respect it, guys, all right? I never leave you guys out in the woods. You guys and gals, all right? To be eaten by the wolves, what we call algorithmic high-frequency trading robots. So bottom line is, Apple's good. It's not a high conviction trade, but it's good. It's more of a swing trade. So it crosses over the 34-20 confluence right here, and it retested the 50-day moving average. It breaks out right here. I would love to see Apple at 194, but in that case, the market's up another 700 points from here. Well, that can happen. Low probability. Okay. Then we have Regeneron. Regeneron is, in my opinion, another Chipotle, which we bought heavy at 280 plus. Where is the stock? It went to almost 500. It had one bad day. Well, after we sold, by the way, all on record. It had one bad day Friday. I had some members saying, oh, we're going to short it all the way. Did you see what Nichols said? I said, I don't listen to conference calls anymore. I've listened to more conference calls than all of you guys put together. Trust me. And I've asked enough questions on conference calls back in my days. And reasonably smart questions to the CEOs of a lot of tech companies, because that's what I was to basically focus on. So this baby went to almost $475, like I said. And Chipotle is up from 414 when I said buy it on Friday to $443 at the highs today. What more can I say? Look at the chart on the Twitter feed. I'm not going to waste my time looking at that. This is a very powerful chart. This is Regeneron, and we have traded this many times before in the years before. It's a biotech. It is getting quite overbought right now on the weekly. So don't expect the stock to just zoom up to 376 in a heartbeat. But the ascent and the angle, this almost a 90, 80 degree move up, right, on the stoves. Mathematically speaking, that shows really powerful underlying momentum. Today's move was on extremely light volume. I'm sorry, that's the weekly chart. This week just started, sorry. Let's look at today's move. Was on, again, this is the pattern we're looking at, was on very good volume. Excellent. We just need to get some freaking great news, like, oh, they just came up with a miracle drug for diaper rash for traders. No, I'm just kidding. Bottom line is, all I'm looking at is there's your 200-day moving average. That's at 360, and we are 351. So we're reaching some points here. We have to be careful. Okay. But the weekly looks pretty fantastic. And if Regeneron really picks up, and like Lisa posted to seasonality, the stock is up. Thank you for the information, by the way. 15% or so. Not that I really care about it, but I think it's important. 8 years in a row. It's up 15% a month of July. Great. Let's go to the 50-week moving average at 376. This is the Canadian hockey stick pattern, also known as a falling wedge. Right there, a falling wedge. It had a falling wedge breakout today. We would like to see it accelerate. So far, internals are cooperating, and it doesn't get overbought till you have the secondary indicator, the 30. This is a 80, 20, 10 full stochastics with this moving up here. Generally, when this starts to happen, it gets fully overbought. So we should, hopefully, as a trader, not asking for anything, another 20 points. And if it breaks above that, see you later. We got a massive downtrend line at $460. You know where they're going to all come in, all the traders? Not here where we were buying it. They're all going to come in possibly here and probably get smacked down 20 points real fast. That's the beauty about clueless trading placements well before it happens. Cintas, I haven't seen that lately. Just take a look at it. Holy cow, what a good looking chart. I played that in earnings a couple of times, and it's fantastic. Cintas is a perfect technical move here. You know, the 20-day here at 189. It is not that big a mover on a price basis. Cintas also has a perfect crossover here on the full stows. This is technically pretty very good. And isn't Cintas the uniform company, Mary Beth? Okay. So we should get some uniforms for all clueless traders, all right? And maybe Cintas would be the ones who'd make it for us. So jobs are up. Okay. Yeah, that's great. But then what if you get a bad jobs number? Cintas is going to be down 20 bucks. If you get a bad jobs number next week, all right, trust me. Don't expect the jobs numbers to keep on flying high, but it's a very good looking chart. I'm not a trader in Cintas, but I would certainly take a look at it. And going back to the highs is 194. That's $6 from here. I don't know the options delta and the gamma and the Greeks on it, even though I played on earnings for gap ups. So I wouldn't know what how it reacts to individual dollar moves on the stock as it moves, but it's a damn good looking chart. All right, guys, great question, Mary Beth. Thank you. Any other quick questions? No? Yes? Futures are up about a quarter point. Everybody's nervous, like what tweets coming out at like 1 in the morning if China's going to croak again. I hope China starts supporting the market. They used to do that. They're trying to be like free market specialists. That sucks. They should just prop up their markets. They're going to do that, by the way, because now it's crazy. Can't let the economy fall because of the markets. But then at the same time, Chinese investors in general, in China, by the way, are pure gamblers. They have no freaking clue. Now they're all panicking. So that's it, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Could you look up Netflix, please? Yes. Netflix has been a consistent overall winner for us. It looks pretty damn good. Netflix is another stock which I said was going to go to $1,000. Netflix has a very high probability, in my opinion, even though it is pressured by the movements down when the NQ at the QQQ sell off. It is on the daily looking pretty damn good to retest its previous high, which is in that 420, 425 level, 423 level. This on the weekly is starting to turn, but I'd like to see a more convincing turn for a more conviction trade. Otherwise, stock is fine. This is still a bull flag. I showed it last week. This is still a bull flag. Okay? And it is always bought. Remember one thing, last thing I'll say, not just about Netflix, but Netflix, Google, Tesla is kind of a different type of story, is the fact that you are competing when you're doing trades. I don't know if other services, tell you this stuff. You're competing against very, very fast machines, algorithmic, high frequency trading, black boxes run by hedge funds. You are competing with them. That's the reason why you see them shoot up $8. And we've been right on that so many times, including Friday. And then they'll give all back. So if you are not quick enough to take those trades the day before, or as they're running first part of the morning, do not trade these stocks. If you're looking for a beautiful swing trade at the higher levels, you're not going to get it. If you're looking for a beautiful swing trades, when I told people to buy the stock around these levels in the breakout, you are going to get it. This is not a swing trade picture. This is a choppy, fast moving, machine driven day trading picture. On that note, have a great evening, guys. God bless you all. And folks, stay focused on the charts. Get everyone to sign up on our Instagram. I mean that. Lisa, sign up as a member. You'll love what we do here. Great people. And please, everyone else included, get the referrals, get the people in, and we will navigate whatever markets come our way, even though we're going to feel like crap sometimes. But the rewards come when you buy those tactical lows. And I think we're in one of them right now for at least a couple of days. Good night.